My AirPod case is also disgusting. I have awful ears.
I occasionally scratch some earwax out with a fingernail.
What's wrong with podcast?
What's wrong with that?
Is this what your podcasts are like? I don't listen. Not a fan. Sorry, I'm just gonna come out and say that.
We kind of ease into the intro.
Oh, okay.
Although I guess time is of the essence today.
Yeah. All right.
Somewhat. Rachel, do you want to explain what our constraint is?
We just have a toddler, or not a toddler, actually. She's a child, a small child wandering around free. So
she's very excited because we said unlimited movies.
Yep.
While we record this, so she's watching the Octonauts.
She's eating
Wow.
queso dip and watching.
You're going to go back
Octonauts.
in, and she's going to be watching Apocalypse Now. That's exciting.
I do worry because before when I was setting her up with Netflix and the Octonauts, it was on YouTube because we were watching the Aquarium of the Pacific live stream. And, the worst part about, sorry, what? No, Rachel made a gesture and I need to ask what it was.
Nothing. Never mind. You're not good at subtle cues, but go on.
You pointed at the floor.
No, I was saying, is this it? Is this the podcast?
We kind of ease into it.
Oh, okay. That's
like, I don't know if I'm going to use this or not yet.
okay.
But to
Assume
answer
you're
your
on.
question, yes, most of this podcast is complete bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I didn't, usually there's some sort of like intro banter and then an ease into the guest or whatever. And so I just didn't know.
You're doing great.
I don't know what the show is and I'm not.
Have you never listened to this podcast?
No, sorry.
It's for the best. It's for the best.
Uh-huh. I just want to say, if you had a podcast, I'd listen to it.
Okay. Thank you.
Continue talking about YouTube.
All I was going to say is the worst thing about kids is recommended videos on YouTube.
Oh,
Like,
it's terrible. And particularly now that she's doing a lot of she's not the only one, but this with the distance learning is sometimes they'll say, okay, watch this video for, I don't know, like a science instruction or about rainbows or something. And then you watch the video and it's usually a YouTube video. And then of course what pops
like
up afterwards
40
is
most
like,
brutal video game murders.
honestly, yes. Like it's or it'll be a cartoon character that she knows and she'll be like, it'll be a cartoon character that she knows and she'll be like, oh, what is that one? And there was one that I think it was a picture of Mario and Link, and Link was wearing a face mask and it said, who will survive? So clearly it was like
God.
coronavirus, who's going to live between Mario and Link? And she knows those characters. And so she's like, I want to watch that one. And I was like, no, it's terrible.
Yeah, where it's like Spider-Man is pregnant.
Oh, there's all, and then, well, I mean, you probably heard about that, like horrible, like those horrible Peppa Pig videos, like what happened to poor
What?
Peppa Pig. Oh, they're terrible. There's like a bunch of videos where it's like Peppa Pig at the dentist being like tortured and stuff. They're terrible. And like YouTube really has a huge problem with this kind of thing. Yeah. So we never she's never allowed to do anything on YouTube without us because it's trash.
No, of course.
You all know that. I mean,
Yeah.
we all have
That's
channels.
that's
We know
really
it's
wise.
trash.
Nobody should go on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, so, for just like this week, I started a kids channel because we have this kids album coming out in a few weeks. And I've never done just a kids content thing before. And I didn't realize, I'm not actually 100% sure of this, but I think YouTube, and this is a good move, auto turns off commenting on all kids videos. Like
Oh,
you
yeah,
can't,
that's
I
probably
think you
good.
can't comment on kids videos. Is that, Leighton? I might be wrong about this, but
I
both
bet
of the
that
videos
might-
I posted didn't have comments on.
If that's a new thing, I definitely remember there being a lot of controversy because there was the whole Elsagate thing in regards to this entire thing where people were like, there are comments with gibberish and this means it's like code for, sex trafficking. And it's like, oh boy, okay. So maybe in the
What?
wake of that, they turned it. Oh yeah.
Is that a crazy conspiracy theory? It sounds like it.
Yes. I mean, anytime there's like a conspiracy theory that originates on Reddit, it's not a good time. Yeah, that sounds very fraught. I mean, and this is a very Zoomer statement to make, but I remember, watching YouTube videos with my dad and like, there's the level of watching a movie where there's a sex scene with your parents, and then there's just like being in the Wild West in the infancy, like first 2 years of YouTube, where it's like, I don't know what's on here. Screamers are still a thing on the internet.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, and he would just kind of like let it roll, and I was a very anxious child, so it's just like, this is the worst. I don't want this.
It's like how somebody made a comment about this on Twitter the other day, and I've also noticed it but didn't comment on it. But like there's a lot more nudity on Twitter. Like I'm seeing a lot
you can
more
post
like
straight up porn.
No, I know you can, but usually it gets taken down pretty quickly. And now it's like lingering. And I think it's because
I think that I feel
like
like that
not
was
enough.
often. I mean, because I run an account with the word sex in the name, until they turned on quality filter,
Wait,
my
what?
life was an actual hell. Like where I think I might have talked about this on a previous episode.
Oh, I remember
on
this.
NSP Facebook. I used to every day have to
Yep.
go and delete
Porns.
porn that people would post on
So
our
many
wall.
porns.
So I disabled like 5 years ago now the ability for anyone to just post on the NSP page
Yep.
because it was all like usually Arabic or Hindi type looking Devanagari script porn.
yeah.
And I was just like, I can't be just taking down porn all the time. So I just turned off the ability for anyone to post on that page.
Because he
I
had
think
to watch the whole thing first.
Well, you have to
so
make
that
sure
takes
it's
time.
porn.
And then
Sometimes porn only looks like porn for a little bit. But
No,
then
I
it's
know
not
that.
porn.
And then and then it was the whole like he had to take notes and
Well,
he
I-
had to copy it and save
I'm
it
running a
somewhere
business.
else. And then look, I'm not. None of this. Do you hear criticism?
No,
in the
you're just
voice?
stating facts.
I was just.
You got a
saying that.
catalog just to be aware for the future. You need to print out screen caps. You put it in your binder. You put the binders in your file folder.
Yeah.
You have to
under
make
your
sure you're
bed.
getting
Yeah,
the right
I get it.
keywords. That's really the thing
Yeah.
with porn.
Great. Oh, I talked to my dad on the phone the other day, and I was relaying the TV glitter scenario from the podcast, and he was like, "Oh, I know. I've listened to all the episodes."
He has?
Yeah, and I was
And?
like, "Oh, sweet God." He had some corrections that I won't
Oh.
share.
Okay.
In terms of like personal information that I've shared, which was
Were they-
horrific.
Good-natured corrections?
Certainly, yeah. But getting any sort of like, oh, I have a few corrections on your podcast is a horrifying thing to hear from your father. Sorry, Dad, I know you're listening. But then he shared with me that my family members do peaches and lemons. It's 1 peach and 1 lemon, not 3 peaches, which I guess
Oh,
is
really?
a thing that I made up. Yeah. So
I like
now
3
it's
peaches
ours.
way more.
I know, me too. That what they're doing sucks. Oh yeah, my dad was like, "Well, it's fine as long as your grandma doesn't listen to the podcast." And I think he was referring to me talking about her sending me a mean letter about how I'm going to hell.
Right.
But it's sort of like, oh, on the ground floor, pretty much everything else about this podcast is bad. I don't want my grandmother to hear me say fuck or any of the other horrible things that have come out of my mouth on this show.
But if you're already going to hell, does it matter?
This is true. This is
Yeah.
true.
Just saying. Saying as a
we should
Catholic.
we should probably introduce ourselves,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
which I believe is the exact wording I use 20 minutes into every episode. Leighton. Well, I'll just introduce Leighton. That's Leighton.
The other one's Brian. And then mystery guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Rachel Wecht, and I am what's known as a a convenient guest?
Last minute replacement guest is what I would say.
I'm the Alec Baldwin, I think, of the guests. I'm just always around.
And
you
you
can get
make
me at last
very
minute.
troubling phone calls
I
very
do.
frequently.
I make very troubling phone calls. I used to be really good looking, and now I'm just kind of doughy and
You do like a very lazy Trump impression.
I do real lazy. I just purse my lips a lot. It's I'm okay with it though. I also have a second family with 5 children. So
If I may offer 2 corrections, I think you're beautiful.
thank you.
And also, you're not a last minute replacement. Like we've been talking about having you on the podcast since the first week. So this is not a very last minute thing.
It's been very problematic for me to argue with Brian about it because every episode he's like, I want to have Rachel on. And it's like the entire show isn't wife night.
Well, you know what? It's all of these things are so nice for you to say since I've already admitted I don't listen to the show. So I have and I won't. So I have no way to like fact check any of this. So I'm just going to say, yay.
Well, those conversations were also not on the podcast.
Oh, no. Okay.
Like, so
well.
even if you listened, which I believe, wait, I can't remember. Have you listened to the podcast?
No, I haven't
you
yet.
haven't. Okay,
I've
I
listened
didn't know
to
that.
bits that you've had me listen to, but
When forced in my presence, you've heard
Yeah.
isolated examples.
yeah, well, you know.
But yeah, no, we are very happy to have you on. It did create a minor childcare issue, but it's going to be fine. Audrey is watching movies, and unless
that's right,
something really catastrophic happens, like a global pandemic or something,
right? No,
we're going to be.
We're good. We're good. She's fine. She's loving it.
Yeah, I'm jealous that I can't be in the same room as y'all right now. I miss occupying the same physical space with both of you and also other people. What did y'all do today?
Well, today was a little bit of a weirder day because I had kind of a light work day, so I took over homeschooling, which is really the first time, or sorry, distance learning. I realize homeschooling implies something different. It's really the first day since we've started the distance learning thing that I've been in charge of doing everything. Rachel's been,
and it's not easy, is it?
I mean, at 10:30, I screamed, "Go to your room." So,
what did she do to get sent to her room?
It was a just general disobedience, and
she just, it was a really epic non-listening morning, like blatantly like staring at him and then just kind of walking away from him, like as if he wasn't there, non-listening, and like good, like teenage level, like real quality, like teenage level, like,
whatever, Dad.
Yeah, honestly,
I didn't ask to be 5.
Yeah, like it was a lot of that. Yeah,
it's that thing where like you gently ask her to do something, or I can't even remember an example, but I'd be like, "Okay, Audrey, let's put that paper away," and she would just stand there, kind of blinking.
Yeah,
I'd be like, "All right, honey, let's put it away. We need to move on to the next thing." Picks up something else nearby, kind of looks at it very deliberately. Mm-hmm. "Oh, is this a pencil?" Like, "Honey, put down the pencil.
Yep.
We need to put the paper away." Like, leaves the room.
It's a lot of that. Where you're like, "Are you?
Can you
Are
even
you fucking
hear me?
with me? Like, what is this?"
Yeah.
Like just, it's the let's say, is it passive aggressive or just aggressive? I don't know.
I think it's what I would call "fuck you" energy.
It is so. She's done it to both of us.
She does it all the time.
Honestly, it's the most infuriating thing where she's just like, nothing and no sounds, just kind of like, mm-hmm. Like the attitude is, mm-hmm, without saying, mm-hmm, the whole time. Like, and then of course, and then it's shock when she gets in trouble.
Oh,
like,
horror.
Just shocked
Tears.
that she's gotten in trouble. And tears, and you hurt my feelings.
You're mean.
You're
That's
mean.
That's a classic kid one. You're being mean.
Yeah, you hurt my feeling. You said something that made me sad.
I was like, is the thing I said that made you sad that you couldn't have a third helping of chocolate today after you basically kicked me in the face?
Yeah.
That's what made you sad? I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
That must be really difficult.
It's standard little kid stuff. Like, Audrey's a great kid, and she's really 99% of, maybe 98% of the time, she's great. But, that extra 2% is just so infuriating.
She's got a little personality, all right.
Yeah, as a parental unit, how do y'all stay sane in the face of that?
We haven't figured it out.
Yeah.
Short answer.
You got time. You got 13 whole years.
Oh, God.
Well, I mean, luckily, it's kind of a tag team effort. I mean, when she's really infuriating, we can pass off to the other parent who hasn't been dealing with it and been infuriated by it for whatever amount of time. There's always a calmer person that can then step in and kind of help out. And well, I mean, thankfully for that. Like, we are very lucky, and we constantly say that kind of every day, and especially with everything that's going on in the world right now. Like, the fact that we are a 2-parent household with only one kid, like, come on.
It makes our life
and then
really
we're living
easy.
in a house with a yard as opposed to an apartment complex or something, that we're living here in California of all places. Like, I mean, we're extremely lucky. However, I mean, and then we feel
it's not
it doesn't mean
frustrating.
that it's not frustrating, and it doesn't mean that, and especially since we're both trying not to drink during the week.
Yeah, that's our rule. Over the last 2 weeks, it's no booze Monday through Thursday.
To drink Monday through Thursday, and then just drunk Friday through Sunday.
That's right.
Like, I mean,
Friday, from the moment we wake up.
From the moment we wake, it's bed.
2 a.m.
It's
Sunday
in bed
night,
mimosas, and then
which Audrey makes, and she's bad at.
she's
That's
not
the
very
thing.
good at it. And then
She makes a great martini though, which is weird.
Yeah, she does it. Yep. She does,
Well, it's because she forgets the vermouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's very good at it.
Okay, fuck vermouth. It's not good.
It's I at least martini wise. I mean, obviously there are two kinds of vermouth, but martini wise, I'm just like the slightest sprinkle.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then
You're not supposed to go nuts. You're just, you can do
You
this
showed
thing where
me a
you.
recipe that was half and half, though.
Oh yeah,
Or
that
not a
was
recipe.
weird.
What do you call it for a cocktail? Is it a recipe?
A recipe.
A recipe.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
It said, and I couldn't believe it. It was like 1 part gin to 1 part vermouth, and I thought that was one
That's
of the
way
craziest
too
things
much,
I've
yeah.
ever read.
Usually, you just kind of rinse the glass. You can do that.
Yeah, that's acceptable.
But I also think it really, boy, this conversation changed directions.
That's what happens. Hey,
Rachel, this is
welcome
exactly
to
how the
Leighton night.
podcast works.
Well, I would say it also depends on the kind of gin that you have and what gin you're drinking and what I would say notes that you want to have. I'm a gin drinker. Let me put it that way. I
I mean, that's an understatement.
It's thank you. I'm a gin drinker. I'm not a big fan. Well, honestly, I'm not a fan of like whiskeys and bourbons and stuff. I like the smell of them, but I can't drink them. They just I'm like bleh, and then I get like headaches and stuff. I think it's the sugars or something. But I love me some gin, and so it really depends on the gin that you have. I think with how much vermouth that you have in it and what kind of martini you have.
True.
I'm a twist, not an olive person. So
Yeah,
and-
I really wish I really like gin, and I just can't get into a martini. For a while I was doing a very, very sad variation on a martini, which is 1 part gin and then like the other part is half pickle juice and the other half is olive brine, and I call it a dirty bong water. It's fucking awful.
Wait, did you make that up?
Yeah.
That sounds. Why?
That's Brian and I actually like to do that where we like think of really disgusting combinations of liquids and then give them celebrity names and stuff, like
Yeah, let's try one right now.
what was the one?
Well, just make one up, and I'll see if I can do
okay,
it.
let's see.
I like doing this.
Okay, let's see here. Oh, here we go. Aviator gin.
Uh huh.
Okay, so Aviator gin. Mm-hmm. Tim Hortons coffee
Yep.
and Ready Whip.
That's a Warren Beatty.
Yeah.
All right, give me another one.
I'm gonna throw out orange juice, a little bit of the really cheap like plastic bottle strawberry banana vodka, and then
Oh God,
some like half and half that's a little past. Like
that's a
it's
Logan Paul.
I was gonna say it's a Drew Barrymore.
Oh, Rachel. That's better. Drew Barrymore. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I would say probably if you're not a martini drinker, which is fine. We all have our flaws. You could try. I would try for you a Vesper. I bet you'd like a Vesper.
What's in a Vesper?
A Vesper is gin, vodka, Lillet Blanc, which is a French wine liqueur.
Is that the thing we had a bottle of for a
Yes.
year and drank?
Well, because
basically
you're not
one
you only
shot worth of, and
because
then
you're only supposed to use a little bit at a time.
we gave it to Twerp.
Yeah, that's the basic recipe for a Vesper. You can add other things, but usually it's half vodka, half gin, and then the Lillet Blanc. And
That
That's
sounds
actually
good.
good.
I mean, if I'm gonna drink gin, I just kind of want like a gin and tonic.
yes, I enjoy a good gin and tonic as well.
Oh, we made what was it? A gimlet
gimlets.
last
that
week.
was
We
that
had
was
a
really
bunch of
good.
limes that were about to go bad, and it
Yeah.
was awesome.
I also just enjoy a gin and ice. You just put ice in like one of those ball pickling jars, and then you just fill it with gin. That's pretty good.
Delightful.
good
I
one.
mean, that's the first thing in the morning drink.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, that's just it's an all day sip and drink. You just sip it all day.
I think it was. I was reading some like Raymond Chandler book. I love Raymond Chandler. I reread
The man
him
had a way
once
with
every-
words.
Oh, it's so great. And they go by super quick, and it's all these. Some of them like The Long Goodbye are these like mysteries where it just kind of meanders, and then at the end it's like, and this thing happened, and here's the answer. So I love the way he writes, but there's a lot of gimlet drinking in them. So I guess they were a popular drink in the 30s and 40s, something like that.
Oh, there's, you know what? My actual favorite gin drink is a bee's knees. That's like real good. I mean, that's Depression era drink.
Is there honey in it?
Yeah, it's just like honey and gin and lemon. It's like super refreshing. I had one time where they put one of those like bourbon soaked cherries in it too, so it had a little bit of drink. It's
nice.
Delightful. You feel really fancy. I went to the trouble of making like a honey simple syrup at home to make them, and I got it all ready. And I was talking and not paying attention to Maybe, and she just runs over and drops her peanut butter filled Kong directly into the cup, like right after I had poured it. Just like, yeah. So what's the cocktail for that one? Peanut butter and treat filled dog Kong with lemon juice, honey, and gin.
I mean, I have one for this.
Go ahead.
It's a Chevy Chase.
A Bryan Cranston.
Oh, that's good.
We need a full tasting menu for this. Like,
oh my goodness,
listeners,
I think
go
a Bryan
ahead,
Cranston, or maybe it's a Walter White. It's like mezcal in a blender with a pepperoni pizza.
There was Allie, Vernon, and Tucker and I were doing testing for the 10-minute power hour where they were putting like Willet Keurig of, they put a garlic sauce like packet in the or from Domino's in the thing, and disgusting, but we did all the tests for like the different things that they were going to do to like just kind of clear them first. One terrible one we did was instant mashed potatoes, which fucking disgusting. But then we walked to Taco Bell and got a taco and put the taco in a blender and then put that mush into a cup and then put it in the Keurig and then drank the water, and I almost vomited. Like I could not handle it. The smell of just like masticated taco. Oh, so bad. None of them were good. Everyone was acting like they were good. They were not good.
I still don't understand. I guess it must be entirely psychological that, I mean, within let's say 5 seconds of taking a bite of taco, it becomes that. And so logically you feel like that shouldn't be gross. I mean, combined with water, okay, definitely gross. But you feel like if you put a taco in a blender, it should theoretically be awesome. And then practically, like in practice, it is one of the more disgusting things I can imagine eating. Blended
Totally.
taco.
Well, it's the difference between taking a bite of a taco and then getting baby birded taco mush.
Yeah. Oh, that's someone out there is into that. I'm sure about that. There must be a regurgitation community.
Oh yeah, there absolutely is. Yeah, there's there's like a vomit fetish for sure.
Oh, of course.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to the podcast, everybody.
All right. Well, speaking of that, we should probably get in. We don't have forever, so because we did. I left the window to the garage, the shades open, and we told Audrey that if she really needs us, which we defined as an actual emergency, she should come to the window. So Rachel and I are occasionally looking over and seeing if we could see a tiny head kind of peeking up. Just staring into the garage. This garage is her favorite thing because she just wants to come and spin in my office chair.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say you have a little bit of time because I know that she's watching Tarkovsky's Stalker, and like that's a good 3 hours. You get the Soviet era cinema.
It doesn't get good until about an hour and 45 minutes in.
Hold on, how dare you? How dare you say that about Stalker? The entire thing is good.
I haven't seen that since college. Oh man,
it's so good. Everybody watch Stalker. If you like Annihilation, watch Stalker and then read the book that it's based on, Roadside Picnic. It's the best. Yeah,
I liked it. Did you see Annihilation? We haven't talked about this. I liked it, but wasn't completely blown away by it. And all I could think of is that it felt like a kind of poor man's Stalker.
Yes, absolutely. When I watched it, I was like, this is really fun. I'm glad that it's doing what it's doing, but the script is so bad, and I disagree with a lot of the choices that they're making. And now, however long it's been since I've seen it, I'm just like, that movie fucking rips. It's so good. It's definitely something I've softened on. The art direction is so good. There's like it
looks amazing. That's for sure.
There's an hour and a half behind the scenes, like art department documentary on YouTube where they go through like the design process for everything, and that I love that shit so much. So it's really delightful. They talk about the choreography and like that final sequence and designing the bear, and how the first time that they brought like the alligator out, they didn't tell any of the actors that it was going to come out of the water.
Oh my God.
And then they have the take of that where it comes out and immediately they all crack up laughing.
Oh.
Super cute.
Is that it's who wrote the book?
Jeff Vandermeer.
Jeff Vandermeer, right?
The book is not good, and the second book is really not good. Yeah,
there's a second book. I didn't.
There's three books. It's a trilogy. The second book I gave up on. The first one is like, we get it, man. You read Heart of Darkness, and you don't know how to write women. It's fine. You don't have to do this.
I've been actually exactly in that stage with the 3-body problem. Have you ever read that?
No.
So it's a Chinese sci-fi trilogy, and the first book was like it's fun. It's a really cool. It's one of those things where it has very cool ideas. The writing, I mean, it's a translation also, so it's really hard to tell. But the writing is, it's compelling, but not like amazing. But it's just for the ideas alone, it's an incredible read. And then I got like 60 pages into the second book of the trilogy. It's basically like a first contact kind of story. So I don't want to give too much away, but basically the idea is, what if there was a group of people on Earth who were making first contact with an alien race that they knew to be hostile, and were doing it explicitly with the goal of wiping out humanity in mind.
That sounds awesome.
It's a cool idea, and like there are a bunch of reveals that I don't want to give away, but there's a VR kind of element to it, which they kind of use as a recruiting device, which has some really amazing stuff going on in it. That's kind of physics and math related. But I got 100 pages into the second book, and I was like, I just don't care about this at all. I just can't get into it. And people said it's amazing, but the first book I thought was very good. Maybe not like transcendent, but fun. And that second book, I couldn't get into it.
See, this is something that I've asked on Twitter and other people and stuff too. I am a book quitter. I know some people are book completionists, but like I will do that. I will try, and then I will sometimes come back to things. Cause I'll be like, okay, maybe I wasn't in the right state of, mind, or I just wasn't relaxed or whatever. And I will try again. And then about half the time I'm just like, no, it's not worth it. Like I tried to do a quarantine puzzle, tried to do a puzzle. It was a 1,000-piece puzzle. And I'm like, who am I kidding? I do not have time to do a 1,000-piece puzzle and parent and all that,
Did you put it away?
I did. Oh. I got rid of it because it was just taunting me, sitting on the table, just parts of just.
It was Disney villains.
It was Disney villains, just part of the frame done, part of the Snow White Queen done, and I was just like, oh, just stop staring at me. Like I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to complete it. And back it went into the box. And I kind of feel that way about books, some books too. And I love books, and I read.
You read a lot.
I read
you
a
read
lot.
More than almost anyone I know.
Yeah, Rachel, what are you reading lately?
Oh, well, I just finished. I like to read. It's the Midwesterner in me coming out, but no, I really like to read books by chefs or by people who really appreciate food. And I don't mean cookbooks, even though I do like to read cookbooks, but I like to read books like biographies that chefs write about their lives. Like there's one, was it Blood and Bone, I think is what it's called. I'm reading a lot of Ruth, I think you pronounce her last name, Rachel. She was the LA Times food critic for a while, and then she was the editor of Gourmet magazine right before it closed. And she writes really well. She's one of those people who can write about food and you can taste it. Like you can taste what she's writing about. And so I read that, and then I did the...
you read like literally all of her books, didn't you?
Yeah. I read Ronan Farrow's book, Catch and Kill, which was
that
infuriating. Good? So good, but so... If you just want to be like if you just want to yell at a book for a while, that's a good one. And I like the books by Patricia Briggs. She is... not sci-fi, but like fantasy writer. She has this whole series, 2 whole series about werewolves, basically. But it's like just like people who are werewolves who live amongst us, and but also like there are, the Fae are there, and trolls and vampires, but in like what if all these people had to live in Washington State? How would that work? And it's
Rachel, you can
really
say that
good.
you're reading Twilight.
It's not Twilight. It is not Twilight.
Have you read Twilight?
I did read Twilight. And
I too read Twilight.
I read Twilight, and then I was like, wow, this woman really hated being pregnant and also hates or doesn't understand love and is in a bad relationship, I think. Because it's all coming out like that. You're like,
why are you pointing at yourself while you're saying these things?
And I'm sorry, I'm starting to cry now. No, but it's like all of it. It's like, this is not how this isn't love. He is stalking her and blaming her for his attraction to her. Like, this is not good lessons, people. Not good lessons. And then those 50 Shades of Grey books were even worse. Because I've read some good erotica, and I'm like, if you're into like bondage and BDSM and that sort of stuff, there are other books that you can read that are a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole thing. It's like, it's okay. If you've learned that you're into this, there's so many better. You don't need this book where the way that he looks at her is described as like a mother hamster who's about to eat her young. Like, that's a real
Is that true?
line.
Yes, there's so many bad lines about his, like the way he talks
mother,
about his
he
penis.
uses the phrase mother hamster when the correct term is momster.
Well, the whole thing too is like, my whole thing about it was like, he's like, here's a contract of all the things I want to do to you, and he does nothing. He does not one thing that's listed in that contract. So I felt like she just like Googled like, what's weird or what? I mean, and I'm saying weird like as her opinion. I don't, like she's like, what's BDSM? I'll just go to the Wikipedia page and just start listing stuff off, but I'm too scared to explore any of it. So it's
like, do you want to put these metal balls that are for kegels in your vagina? That's a thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's real sexy for the average reader.
Anyway, yeah.
Did you read all of the 50 Shades of Grey?
Oh, God,
Either of
no.
you? Both of you?
I did not. No, I read the first one, and I was just so angry after reading it. I was like, why did I do that? Why did I do that to myself? Because, yeah, the writing is also really bad. But particularly how, isn't the woman who wrote it British? And the way, and all the characters are American, but they don't speak American English correctly. Mm-hmm. And then they always are constantly saying the United States or something, where she's like, I have never left the United States. And it's like, nobody talks, like, at least like read some American authors or something. If you're going to try to mimic American authors, like whatever. But then I guess she wrote the whole thing on a cell phone or something. I don't know. So it's like
what?
0%
yeah,
surprise. Like, well, and it was also originally Twilight fan fiction.
Oh, yeah,
right,
it was
that
fan fiction,
yes.
yeah. And then that she wrote like during her commute or something. Whatever. And now, of course, everybody's going to be like, yeah, sure, Rachel, you don't like it. You know way too much about it.
You can hate read something. Of course you can hate read. You hate read all the time.
The problem is too, I am one of those people that when I really hate something, sometimes I do deep dives to find out as much about it as possible so I can hate it on many levels. Where I can, like, I just really want to do the research so I can be, and another thing about this person's beliefs or whatever. And then Brian will just be like, why do you waste your time? And like, I'm like, no, if I'm going to hate someone, I have to hate them entirely.
Also,
it's like recreational hatred.
Exactly. On all fronts.
And when you try to explain to me why you hate it, I am not a particularly receptive audience.
Oh my gosh, no. Sometimes I have to say, Brian's not a good girlfriend.
I disagree with that
so
quite strongly.
I have to
I'll let you
sometimes
continue.
have to say to him, I need to talk to you or bitch to you about something pop culture or gossipy, and I need you just to shut up and just go, or, oh, that's terrible. And like not add, like, why do you care? Or, of course they acted like that. They're idiots. Like, I don't want to hear that. I need you just to be like, oh, tell me more. Like, I need you to be a girlfriend for a moment. And then I said, because I have to just say it, just to say it. And then you can go about your business. And he'll go, okay. And he'll just sit there, and then I'll complain about the Kardashians or
Or
something.
the royal family or something.
Or the royal family or something. Yeah. And then he'll go, okay, is that all, or do you need more? Like,
Well, you make me sound like an asshole.
No, it's not that you're an asshole. It's just you don't care, so you don't give the same feedback that someone, even if somebody like only like slightly cares or doesn't really give a crap about Meghan Markle or whatever, but they've heard about Meghan Markle and they're like, okay, I'm interested to hear a little more. Like, but you can't even do that because your whole thing is like, oh, this is not worth my time. And I get it. And I completely understand it. But sometimes, you know, this is what you do in in a long-term relationship is you have to say, I need you just to listen for a minute and not comment.
Yeah, abide by these parameters.
Exactly. These are but isn't that helpful to you?
Yeah, for
that
sure.
I give you parameters?
No, it's great. I'd rather you tell me explicitly what you want.
Yes.
And then be upset that I screwed it up rather than be upset because I didn't know what you wanted.
Right. Well, I'm going to be upset with you no matter what you do. But, I'm aware.
So look at this. This is healthy.
Yeah.
This is the most therapy we've ever done.
So that is actually a pretty good segue into our question topic, which was gray areas. We had put out a very vague advice call for gray areas, and it was really interesting to see how people interpreted that topic. But we have a relationship question that I really want to read because it's juicy.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of, is that way the segue? 50 Shades of Grey into gray areas?
Oh, damn. And you know what? My other segue topic was going to be when we were talking about aliens, because we got an alien question, which I also want to
let's hear both. You can cut and paste later. Let's hear it.
We'll do the juicy one first. Hi, Leighton, Brian, and mystery guest. I'm David, he, him. Other names in my story have been changed. So I met my fiance, I'll call her Holly, in college almost 6 years ago. We clicked quickly, and I fell in love hard and have continued falling since. Now enter my other college friend, who I'll call Tara. Tara and I were in a friends with benefits situation for about a month before I met Holly. Once I met Holly, I talked to Tara and said I just wanted to be friends as I had caught feelings for Holly almost immediately. Tara was super cool and respectful about it, and we remain good friends to this day. Here's my issue. I want to invite Tara to Holly and my wedding as she's a good friend of mine, but Holly hates Tara. Even before I told her she and I used to hook up, Holly had major issues with Tara despite not knowing much about her. I think it would be awkward to invite Tara even though she's a great friend of mine and no feelings past friendship exist between us. Should I just drop it and skip inviting Tara, or am I justified in wanting to have her present at what is supposed to be one of the best days of my adult life?
Okay, so I'm going to start off on this one if that's okay with you, Brian.
Yeah. You have my permission.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, and I completely understand where David is coming from, but I think he's going to have to not invite Tara. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think if your fiance doesn't like this person and hasn't liked this person for a while, I think, inviting that person to your wedding is not the best idea. If you wanted to do some sort of celebration with Tara over your wedding, you could do
privately
something
while having sex.
No, I mean, you can do something separate, like maybe with another group of friends that she's also friends with or whatever. You have a separate little thing, or something after the wedding or something. But I think, unfortunately, you cannot. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't. I totally agree.
You can't invite her. I think it's just going to cause you more stress. It's going to cause your fiance stress. You guys are going to be. You're going to spend like what's supposed to be one of the happiest days of your life thus far, worried about how everybody's feeling. And there's already enough stressors and stressful things that happen during a wedding, just in general, that I don't think you really want to add that layer onto it. And I don't know, because I don't think you said in the note how if Tara is aware of your fiance's feelings towards her, but she probably is.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to, or not hard to miss.
Yeah, I think she would understand. I think she would completely understand. And because I'm sure there's a way you can tell her, you can explain to her carefully and delicately or whatever the reasons why. But I think, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I will say this, my answer for this is sort of because it is a wedding. If, I don't want that to be blanket applied to like, we're just dating and my girlfriend or whatever hates this other girl that I am friends with and does not want me to hang out with them. That is a very different story.
Oh, no,
yes,
that is very different.
Yeah, if your partner pulls that shit, that sucks. Don't deal with it.
Yes.
Just get out of there. But yeah, in this situation, David, I would say probably just skip inviting Tara.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound worth it to me.
It's
going to create more problems than it's worth.
That's the thing. It's going to create more problems for him.
That's
honestly.
what I'm talking
really.
about.
It's just like the whole, why did you invite her? What are you doing? And then people are going to pick sides, and it's going to be a whole big mess. And then she's going to feel weird. She's going to be at a wedding where she feels weird.
I don't think it's crazy or like crazy out of line to be like, look, I'm sorry, but because we used to hook up, it's weird and I can't invite you. That's not a horrible thing to say. That's actually, I think, a pretty normal thing to say. And I could imagine situations where
that you
fiance
would have to do that?
is, yeah.
Is that what you were about to say?
Where the fiance is, did I have ex-girlfriends at our wedding? No. I don't think I did.
No, you didn't. It was a destination wedding.
Yes, the destination was St. Paul.
That's right. And what ex-girlfriend would be like, I'm flying. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I it doesn't sound like it's much of a deal breaker to me. I would just say don't cause yourself the trouble.
Yeah.
And one more thing before we move on. Imagine that you do invite Tara. She will feel that hatred radiating off of
that's
your
what I was
fiancé.
saying.
And I can't think of a worse feeling than being at a wedding where you know the bride hates you.
Well, not just the fiancé, but all the fiancé's friends.
That's what I said. You're going to force people to pick sides, and that's what's going to happen. And then you're going to put her at the one of the tables that's like miscellaneous friends, and then she has to sit there the whole time, and everybody's like, oh, and how do you know so and so, and she's gonna be like, well, we used to have this casual thing, and his wife now totally hates me, but he invited me anyway. It's been cool. Anyway, you gonna eat your cake? Like, nobody wants that.
Good luck, David. I hope your wedding goes great.
Yes. And congratulations.
Congratulations. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day.
I see one here I would like to read.
Yeah, go for it.
Ben writes, my birthday isn't a week on Earth Day as it is every year. Usually I plant a tree or volunteer extra that week, but I don't know what to do about my birthday, how to celebrate, or if it's even appropriate to celebrate at all when, like, the entire world is in an economic crisis and in quarantine. There's no defined rule set or easy answer for this moment in time. Trying to instead just stay grateful that my loved ones are healthy enough, my friends are staying safe, etc. So the question is, what do you do when your birthday happens during a global pandemic? And what do you do during lonely birthdays? So the reason I picked this is because that Earth Day is also my birthday. So I'm in exactly April 22nd, exactly the same situation as Ben. I've been, originally I turned 45 this year, so it's a nice 5 round number. Divisible by 5 round is not a mathematically defined concept, but it is it is 0 mod 5, or divisible by 5 as plebs would say.
Anyway.
And so I originally was going to have a party or something like that. I asked Brent to let me do it at his place, and he said yes. And
Brent throws a fucking great party.
Yes, he does.
He throws an absolute banger of a party.
Yeah, and we had this guy that we've seen at a few events, Buster Balloons.
He's amazing.
He's like a balloon comedian for kids, and I just think he's incredible. He's LA based, and we've seen him at a few kids events here and there. And I wanted to have a party and invite him and all this stuff. And of course, it's just not happening right now. So I've been thinking, not I could give or take a party; it would just be a fun excuse to have one. So not totally selfishly, but just what do we do? Do I do anything? I think we're personally for me, I don't have anything planned. I don't really care about gifts or anything like that. I never really have as an adult. So on my end, we're just going to kind of what am I going to do during a lonely birthday? Kind of the same thing, we're doing every week. To me, it's just going to be, another day here. But I'm also lucky because I have a family. So it's not going to be totally lonely because I'm going to have a 5-year-old clinging to my face for 6 hours trying to, play and hang out and stuff like that. So I'm not really, really on my own because I have 2 people that I love that I live with.
Yeah. I would say you have every right to celebrate your birthday, and you have every right to celebrate everything that happens to you. Every victory. The fact that you got up and you feel good that day. The fact that you showered or put on clothes, or maybe, tried something new with your hair, or you learned how to do something, or you finished that goddamn Disney villains puzzle, whatever it is, you have every right to celebrate every little victory all the time, regardless of if there's a global pandemic happening.
Yeah.
You have to grasp those lovely victories. And it's your birthday. Of course you should celebrate it. You may not be able to go to wherever you want to go and and plant a tree or something, but you could donate to an organization if you have if you have the funds. Obviously, if you have the funds to spare, you could donate to an organization that can plant a tree or do something for you. And yes, celebrate your birthday. Call your friends. Or drive over to your friends' houses and honk at them and make them come stand out on their front lawns and yell happy and sing happy birthday to you. Yeah. Or maybe tell them that that's what you want. They just drive to your house and you stand outside and they sing happy birthday to you. I went on a walk today and I saw that somebody had put happy birthday balloons on their balcony of their apartment building and that clearly stated it was their birthday. Now, these are like balloons you would actually have probably in your house, but they had them outside. You have every right to celebrate your birthday, and I think you should.
Yeah.
And I think you should reach out to your friends and do whatever, because they probably are also like, gee, what do we do? Like, we can't go to his house and have a party or whatever, but they'll probably want to call you or text you or something.
Or you could do throw a virtual party, make a little e-bike,
totally.
Get on Discord, drink, I don't know,
Zoom
hang out
or whatever. There's I had a friend who did virtual karaoke. Have your goddamn party.
Get on Netflix party, watch something stupid, get drunk with your friends over the call.
Our friend Kate's birthday, she did a Jackbox thing.
Yeah.
It's
a Jackbox thing, and we did a cocktail hour and stuff. So I say there are other things you can still do remotely. Or even just, go sit outside if you can, if you have the ability to sit outside with a cupcake or a muffin or something with a candle and be out in nature since you like it so much and eat your, that sounded really mean.
It sounded, I was
since
thinking,
you like it so much.
Enjoy your tree boy.
Yeah, go sit under a tree. Yeah, you crunchy hippie or what. No, I mean, because you love it. And go sit outside and have a cupcake and be like, happy birthday to me. I think, yeah.
Yeah, any self-care that you can do.
Any self-care.
I'm not a holiday person, and so holidays and birthdays are just excuse to eat cheese and be lazy and not put on clothes or pants.
Yeah.
Do what you love.
I buy a lot of random things at random times, and so I have enough stuff to put together a present, and we put together a lovely present for Brian, and he's going to be his
surprise. You did?
Yeah.
What?
And I have... Mm-hmm. We have cake preparations and all sorts of stuff ready. So Audrey and I are going to make sure that he has a lovely birthday.
Yay. I can't wait.
Yeah. But yes, celebrate. But celebrate.
Also, probably Audrey's birthday is going to happen. Audrey is a May birthday.
Yeah, that one's harder because
we have to figure out what we're going to do.
Yeah. How do you have a little kid party when you can't have kids over? But so whatever. Yeah. I mean, we'll figure that out when it comes to it. But yeah, that's my opinion.
I will say that if she has earned Animal Crossing by that point, hanging out in Animal Crossing is really dope.
Well, actually, you might want to wait for one of my peaches because I have an update on that.
Oh my God.
So I'm just saying, I don't want to give anything away. I'm just saying.
I've literally been sitting around I can't fucking wait for Audrey to get Animal Crossing.
We should move on to another question, but why don't do you want to run inside or do you want me to run inside real quick and just check? I would feel better if I ran.
Okay, why don't you go in and check? Yeah. Okay, yeah, you go in and check.
Take this AirPod so it doesn't hang up. I'll be
all right.
Right back.
Hi, Rachel. Yeah, I figured before Brian came back we should talk. I don't know how we're going to disclose our relationship to him. I've been really stressed about it. And I don't know what your perspective, have you mentioned anything?
Oh, what? About you and I?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Do we want to do that today? Is that too much? We got to do the slow reveal?
Well, I mean, I just think, he's just so happy right now.
Hello.
There you are.
How is your child?
Audrey's great. She's burritoed in a little blanket, laying somewhere where I don't even understand how she can see the TV. But she also closed the door to the room, and the dog was very upset to be sequestered in the room with Audrey. She just wanted to get out.
That's because I'm out.
Coco's special help.
Here. Yeah.
It's mostly just because I'm separated from...
Everyone's fine.
Yeah, everyone's fine.
I want to do this alien question.
Do the alien question.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Michael. Male pronouns are fine. My first instinct is aliens, so gray areas. Favorite alien activity sites. I'll go first. Phoenix Lights from 1997. That was Michael saying that, not me. Fuck the Phoenix Lights.
I mean, I don't know. Like, hey, do I just need to say this out loud?
I
think
mostly
it's all
picked this
bullshit.
for your reaction, yeah.
Like, come on. Like, am I going to say 100% we have not been visited by aliens? No, of course I can't say that. But 99.999%, yeah. Like, I mean, but you could also view this from a more charitable perspective as just like a tourist thing. Look, I'm not too proud to admit, I stopped at Roswell in 1997. Who didn't? And had a great time. Like, we didn't really do anything. We just kind of were driving cross country and stopped there and ate at the fucking alien diner. I don't even know.
Yeah,
Like,
that cottage industry, that it seems like that was the best thing to ever happen to Roswell, New Mexico.
Well, because of the X-Files. Like, that's why I went. You know, I was super into the X-Files, and we were driving through the Southwest, and it was like, why the fuck not? We did really debate going to Area 51, like driving up on the alien highway or whatever. This is me and Derek.
Yeah, no, I know.
But of course we didn't do it because it would have been like a 30-hour detour or something. I don't know. Like, there's nothing stupider than the Storm Area 51 thing. There's no alien tech. Like, you know, it's not obviously totally impossible, but just imagine what it would take for an alien race to get here, like from wherever the fuck they are. That's very unlikely to happen just from a kind of probabilistic perspective. Like, would that civilization exist at the same time as ours and all that sort of thing, and then be
Or
able to get here?
there's a big assumption that any creature would give enough of a fuck about humans. Like,
Oh,
we're
yeah,
such
for sure.
small potatoes. It's like the narcissism of like, oh, we must be important because we live on the planet Earth and we're humans. We
Yeah,
like
I mean,
to kill each other and be bad to the planet.
I think the most plausible alien contact scenario, if any aliens are coming here, is some civilization, whenever the fuck it was, a long time ago, threw a bunch of robots into the air in all directions, and then like tiny mini robots, and, you know, basically kind of seeded the galaxy or whatever with them, and then eventually one would find its way here and probably just crash into the earth and burn up. Like,
Unmanned.
it hasn't happened. Yeah, of course. Uncrewed space travel is the only way to actually do distant exploration. And has that happened? Has someone gotten here? No. But, okay, favorite alien site? I had a good time in Roswell in the late 90s.
Rachel, what are your alien opinions?
Well, I haven't visited any sites. I've heard the Marfa lights are supposed to be cool. There's like a mystery.
In Texas?
Yeah, about the lights. Like
Oh, really?
nobody knows where they come from or what causes them. But that's probably not alien so much as that's just
I can tell you
nature.
It's not aliens. Yeah.
No, my thing is aliens aren't really my thing. I kind of agree with Brian in the sense I can't say that they've never visited. I think if we do find some, or if they are here, I think the whole, I think the movie Abyss is probably right. I think they're all in the ocean. Like, if you look at ocean creatures, like if you look at some of that stuff, it's like, yikes. Like, I think that would be a good place. I mean, if you think of, you know, with all the pressure and the darkness or whatever, I don't know. Like, I feel like if there are aliens, that's why they are. Well, and then again, I also like what you say. It's true. Like, how egotistical to assume that that every alien out there is like, ooh, what's on that little planet? Like,
What's inside of these humans? Like,
I do. Yeah, I do. Well, that's
None
the
of
other
them
thing
care.
too. Like, there was I was heard a story about some town in Italy that was like terrorized by aliens, so they say, for like years. Like, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, why are we so fascinated? And also just like, what information could they get from us? Just like, I mean, if you think about it, it's like, okay, so that's what a creature would have to be to survive on that planet. How does that affect us on our planet?
Well, I think
like, I don't know.
Interesting question. Like, I don't understand people who say it's not an interesting question if aliens exist. Like, if I'm of the opinion that there is almost certainly life somewhere else out there in the universe.
There has to be.
And that there doesn't have to be at all.
Oh, well,
but,
I feel like there has to be.
I mean, I think it's overwhelmingly likely. And if there's not, if we are really the only life in the universe, that's amazing. And it's not outside the realm of possibility. I just think it's very unlikely.
It's amazing, but it's also really fucked. Like, there's really no better, there's no better organisms out there.
Yeah, right. Like, so I think there are aliens out there. I think we have zero chance, like infinitesimally small chance of ever in the history of our civilization being in contact with them, either have been or will be. Like,
well,
past and future, it's not going to happen.
The haters have weighed in. Michael, I'm sorry. I love aliens. I'm fascinated by aliens. As I previously mentioned on the show, they were the bane of my existence as a child and my number one target for anxiety for a long time. I'm very similar. There's no fucking way they've been here, and I'm sure there is tons of stuff that we will never know about. But the thing that I ascribe to is the like ants in a freeway thing, where it's like ants. We build a freeway. Ants not only don't know what a freeway is, they don't know what a person is or what a car is or how any of that works. If there are aliens, we are the ants in this situation. It would be so far beyond our understanding that we would not be able to grok it. That being said, the phenomenon of people seeing UFOs or claiming to be abducted, that's what I'm interested in because it's such an inherently psychological kind of thing. Yeah. And I fully believe in like people manifesting stuff. Like the idea of tulpas. I love the idea of like the men in black as tulpas.
Now we're back.
Now we're back in the hater zone. If I have to answer that question, it would be Skinwalker Ranch, because that's. I mean, obviously, I've never been there, but are y'all familiar with Skinwalker Ranch?
No, I'm not at all.
It's this specific ranch that is named after, skinwalkers, which is like a certain kind of witch that can turn into an animal and wants to cause you harm, etc. But it's been like a really well documented hotspot for not only alien stuff, but also all sorts of other paranormal things. Like, it's a
like
really
on a ley line or something.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating place to read about.
What? I like ghost stories. I'm a ghost person. I like
exactly. There's like a level of romanticism to these kinds of things where it's like they're fun to read about because it's just so. You know what? The one big conspiracy theory that I fully believe in is the government perpetuating these sorts of crackpot alien things just to cover their own asses.
Oh, like when they lose a plane or something.
Yeah, like it's really easy to be like, oh yeah, it's just people who believe in aliens are really crazy, and not that they're covering up aliens, but more to cover up like shit that they're doing that's sketchy, and also like encouraging conspiracy theories that make it sound like anything that could potentially be legit must also be crazy. Like, I don't know, I believe in that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just think the government kind of coordinating anything is a long shot. So
yeah, that's my issue with most conspiracy theories, because everyone assumes that there is some plan and that people could actually feasibly coordinate not only just something in general, but something nefarious or far-reaching. It's like people are not that. Like, I hate to break it to you, everyone's fucking stupid. There's no way.
People are selfish. Yeah, people are selfish. Like it's that whole. Well, it's like that whole like. Thing that happens like in your classroom where it's like if everybody can just sit still for 10 minutes, we'll all go for ice cream, and you're gonna get, and there's like 20 kids in the
marshmallow
class.
test.
Yes, you're gonna get one dick who can't, and then ruins it for everyone, and nobody gets any ice cream. Like it's that whole thing. People are selfish. Like, so I can't imagine. If like there was aliens, like one person in that group would totally go home and be like, "Look who I brought home."
Yeah. Well, this is the thing with every conspiracy theory. Like, imagine. If that conspiracy theory were to be true, imagine who would have to be silent about it to keep it actually a conspiracy. The math never works out.
Yeah. Like, and right now, of course, there's a bunch of aliens listening to this podcast and going,
well, that's
aliens love Leighton night.
Well, it's interesting that my own wife hasn't listened to the podcast yet. She posits that a bunch of aliens.
Like, I've got other things to do.
The aliens don't. Literally, all they do is they're up humans' asses all the time. And I meant that. I did not mean that in an anal probing way. I meant that. That just came out. I meant that.
We got what you.
Look,
we understand what
aliens love podcasts.
Look, sometimes you just gotta Just got to tighten up your fist and just get on up in there.
But I actually think of Joe Rogan fans as aliens. I probably understand actual aliens more than I understand people who like Joe Rogan.
If any cross listeners of both the Joe Rogan Experience and Leighton Night, please don't contact us.
I am very, I mean, I'm sure there are people who have listened to both. If there are people who are big time fans of both, actually, I know one, Brent. Brent fucking loves Joe Rogan.
God damn it, Brent.
Yeah.
This is the least surprising information I've heard about Brent, but
Yeah.
Hey, do you like horror movies? Are you stuck at home right now just waiting to get funny games or perhaps The Strangers? Well, have we got the thing for you. In honor of our upcoming horror history series Deep Cuts, hosted by yours truly, we've partnered with Shudder to bring y'all a special offer. Leighton Night listeners, that means you, can get an extended 14-day free trial for Shudder and access to their full library of amazing horror movies. All you have to do is go to shudder.com/signup, that's SHUDDER, and enter promo code DEEPCUTS. For people who don't listen to Leighton Night and are thus not cool, they only get 7 days. Leighton Night listeners get 14. That's 2 weeks of horror content. And if that's not a peach, I don't know what is. So now that you have no excuse, I am simply demanding that you watch some great horror movies, such as Audition, Ginger Snaps, In the Mouth of Madness, Tetsuo the Iron Man, The Taking of Deborah Logan, The Love Witch, Knife and Heart, Revenge, literally all of the Friday the 13th movies, Dogtooth, Noroi the Curse, The Exorcist 3, A Tale of Two Sisters, and so many more that I couldn't possibly list them all, but they're very good. So scoot on over there with promo code DEEPCUTS, and let's get spooky. Or else.
All right. Let's do, actually, there's one here that I want to read because it's very appropriate. This person didn't know who the guest was going to be, but this question is right up Rachel's alley.
Oh, dear.
Chrissy, she, her, writes, I'm good at things that are rule-driven and have a right answer, so I struggle with things like musical improvisation. I know there's no right answer, and the sky's the limit, but it's a mental hurdle, and I freeze up when I try to improvise. Any tips? So, Rachel, we didn't really talk about this, but Rachel is an amazing improviser. She is, like, legitimately one of the best I've ever seen, and she does, just regular improv, musical improv, the whole thing. So if there's anyone to ever answer this question, it's Rachel.
Well, first of all, I would say there are rules within improv and in musical improv in particular. And the rules are more, not hard and fast, but more guidelines. Structure is what I think you're saying, a questioner. I think you're saying you do well with structure. You do well with, like, A goes into B, B goes into C. And the thing is there is stuff like that, particularly in musical improv, because musical improv follows a musical format. And so if you know how musicals are put together, like, you introduce the town, then you do introduce each of the characters, and sometimes they get songs, and then there's a meet cute, and then there's the conflict, then there's the villain. Like, if you know all those parts have to happen, then that's the rule. Those are the rules.
Yeah,
and
but what about in an individual song? I think
in an individual song too, you know what songs are. Like, that there's ballads, and there are belt songs, there are duets, there's quiet songs, there's big group numbers. So you know all that stuff. And you know how song structure works. So you can just, you know how rhyming structure, A, B, whatever, so it's, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, whatever you set for yourself or for the group, that becomes the rule. So there are rules. There's structure. It's a loose structure, but there's structure, particularly with musical improv and with regular improv too. I mean, if you're doing games, then there's a game. So there's a game that's layered on top, and that's the structure. So if the game is party quirks, then okay, well, one of these people is a celebrity, one of these people is an inanimate object or whatever it is. So you know what you're aiming for. Or if you're just doing a regular improv scene, the rules are, the structure is basically, you know each other, you have some sort of relationship, you have some sort of want. Either you want something from the scene or from your partner or from both. There's a history, and you know that your partner will go along with whatever you set up, because that's the rule. So there are rules and there is structure. It's just getting comfortable with it. I can understand that people freak out about improv because they think, A, oh my gosh, I have to be funny. And if you try to be funny, it's always devastating. No one, it's like, it's going to be terrible. So don't try to be funny. Just react to what's happening in this situation as you would react. And the funny will come when you relax into it. You'll be funny because people are funny. So, and situations are funny, and people reacting to situations is funny. So funny will happen. And the other thing too is that you're not alone. Oh, I mean, well, now we all are, but you're not alone in the sense of if you're doing improv, there's other people on stage with you, either a single partner or multiple partners. So it's not all up to you. It's not all up to you. So you can throw something out and trust, if you have a good relationship with your other improvising partners, that they will pick up the slack. So it's not all up to you. So that's a safety net as well. And then the other thing is that people think like, I won't know what to say. Yeah, you will, because acting and improv, but acting is basically reacting. So you say a thing called truth in comedy. If you react to the truth of the scene, the truth, how you feel your character would react truthfully. If you react to what's happening in the scene, the funny will come, the words will come, and you can relax into it. And the other thing with improv too, it's a muscle. It's just a muscle. The more you do it, the more comfortable you feel, and the better you get at it. Does that mean everybody can be super good at improv? No. But, some people are much better at it than others. But if you practice enough, you become more comfortable with it, and then it becomes second nature. And yeah, I mean, improv is one of those addictive cult-like comedies because when it's really, really good, it is so good, and that feeling is so amazing that you're constantly chasing that feeling that you will slog through a lot of really bad improv. Because when it's bad, it is really bad.
It's really bad.
It's really bad.
The other thing about improv, at least that I always found, and you have much more experience with this, Rachel, than I do, is that the hard thing about learning improv is at the beginning, you're improvising with terrible improvisers.
Yep.
And it kind of gets easier the more you do it because not only are you practicing, all your castmates are practicing as well. So I think people often at the beginning of improv get a false sense of how quote unquote good they are at it because their scene partners have not learned how to support them in a decent way. So the more you do improv, usually the more the other people around you have done improv, and then you all lift each other up. So it's really hard right at the outset because probably you're not working with great and very comfortable people. But if you hang in there, it does get easier because you and your scene partners have been practicing.
Also, you have to really get out of your own way, and you have to let go of your ego. You have to be vulnerable. You have to accept the fact that you're not going to be the funniest person on the stage. It's not stand-up. It's improv. So if you're constantly going for the jokes, if you're constantly cutting people off at the knees so that you can say the funny thing,
you might just be a white guy.
Hey-o. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be good. And pretty soon people will stop working with you. And that's just kind of how it goes. So get out of your own way.
Yeah, and
we have a code red at the window. Excuse me. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah. So. Oh, her bleeding toe. Okay. She got she took a chunk out of her toe.
Audrey, do you want to come in real quick and just say hi?
Let's exploit your bleeding
is your
child.
big toe bleeding again?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
We'll go put a Band-Aid
Okay, we're going to go put a Band-Aid on it.
So this was a real emergency.
Okay. Can I have your headphone?
Yes.
Because I can't reach stuff.
No, I know you can't, honey.
So this was a real emergency.
Honey,
No,
this
I'm
was
glad you
perfect.
came in, honey.
This
This
was
is
absolutely
exactly
perfect.
what
This
this
is
is.
exactly what we said to
Can you
do.
just say hi into the microphone real quick? If you want to, if you feel like it. Don't touch it. Just
Hi.
that was very tiny.
That was very tiny.
All right, let's go get a Band-Aid on that toe.
Leighton, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Anyway, I know Brian's not here, but I can still finish that thought. But basically, yeah, if you get out of your own way, trust, and don't try to be the funniest person in the room, and you'll be fine.
Yeah,
and it'll
like
be fine.
be generous to your other performers, because like a big part
Yes.
of it is you making them look good and trusting that they will also be trying to support you and just collectively be the organism that does funny things.
Yeah, I had a teacher once who said, you can't always be the steak on the plate. Like
Yeah.
everybody wants to be the steak, but sometimes you have to be the potatoes or the greens or the parsley, or you're not even on the plate. Like sometimes you just, there's roles for everyone, and some scenes you'll be the center of focus and some scenes you won't, and you just have to be okay with that. And yeah, so I would just I think everybody should take improv. I love improv. I love teaching improv, because you can learn many things from it.
And also
Even
learn
if
about
you-
yourself. Like it's a really big confidence builder. Like I'm so grateful that even with my limited experience with it, like it was like more, you can take a public speaking class, which is also a very useful thing to take with
Very
that
useful.
structure. But
Yes.
doing that and then also taking improv is like you get those two opposite ends of the spectrum. And it's just like,
And
it's a good time. You feel amazing.
It is. It is a good time. It's fun to laugh with people, and laugh in groups is always good. And the other thing too is it gives you confidence in other things. If you do, I found that if you do improv long enough, or if you do public speaking long enough, then when you find yourself in situations where something goes wrong, like a PowerPoint presentation or something, and something doesn't happen the way it's supposed to happen, it doesn't freak you out.
Yeah. It really breaks down that like feeling too embarrassed to do stuff barrier, where it's like, I don't give a shit. Like if I don't give a shit, then nobody else is going to give a shit. Like if you're visibly very anxious, or like you feel you've messed up and then it makes you more anxious, like that is the thing that is more noticeable than you just rolling with it. I do feel bad though, because Chrissy wrote specifically about improvising musically.
Yeah. Well, I did talk about that a little bit. Musical improv is a whole nother level, because now you're combining two things. One, improv, so speaking in front of people without a script, and then you're combining music on top of it.
Oh, I like interpreted this as like, maybe like playing piano or something.
Well,
like just kind of riffing.
Well, that's kind of what, musical improv to a certain sense is. If you're trying to actually do a musical structure, you're probably working with a group of people that really love musicals. If you really love musicals, and if you really understand how the format works, you can probably make up your own musical and your own song. And if you're just making up songs, like Brian and I, we used to do like an improv structure thing where we were pretended to be like a lounge act, and he would be the accompanist, and we would talk to the audience, and I would get the song ideas from the audience, and then he would play something and I would follow along. And if you have a really good improvising musical accompanist, it'll be fine. And I mean, if this person specifically mentioned musical improv, then she must really like to sing or play music or something, and can she'd probably be fine. Like if she just took a class, and there's a lot of good classes if you're in LA.
Well,
if she took,
maybe not right now.
well, not right now, but if she took a class, but she could probably find, there's a lot of people who are teaching
I
online
bet there are
right
a
now.
lot of people doing online.
And also she should just try it. Like just kind of fuck around. Like just try it.
Who is our current favorite musical improviser?
Oh, Audrey. That's the thing. Actually, honestly, watch kids.
It's kind of the best. They
do
just
not
go.
care. They don't care. Like Brian he'll noodle around on the keyboard, and she will just sing, and she doesn't care if she rhymes or anything. She'll just be like, sometimes I wish I was a duck, 'cause ducks are great, 'cause they got feathers. And one time I was eating a taco in Target, and it was great because it can be gay. And there's a lamp, and I once had a foot, and she just goes on and on.
I'm putting
and on.
music under that for this
Thank
episode.
You should. And she just goes on and on and she doesn't care. She doesn't care if it makes sense. She doesn't care if it rhymed. And honestly, if you're just starting out, just do that.
Yeah.
Just go and see how long you
Rhyming's
can go.
for suckers.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Fuck rhyming.
Next
Let's
question.
do one more question.
You want me to read it? Yeah. From Jordan, he, him. My gray area question comes from the realm of grocery shopping. Once in a blue moon, I'll find myself shopping at my local grocery store and will accidentally drop an item that I am looking at or intending on buying. In one instance, I dropped a jar of jelly and it, of course, shattered on the ground and made a huge mess. I informed an employee and apologized. He said no worries and that they would clean it up. A year or so later at the same store, I fucked up again. This time, I accidentally knocked over a jar of relish. It again shattered on the ground. Naturally, I grabbed an employee's attention and made them aware of my fuck up with me apologizing again. This person seemed a lot more stern compared to the last person. They asked if I did it, and I said yes, and again apologized. The associate then told me I needed to pay for the damaged goods. Okay. I said that it wasn't an issue, and I understand. In my head, however, I couldn't help but thinking about the previous time that I dropped something at the store and how it did not seem like an issue for someone to drop and break something by mistake. I'm not upset that I paid the $3 extra for the busted relish jar. I'm more curious about what the actual protocol is for spilled and damaged items at a grocery store. I personally feel like if the person comes clean and tells somebody, it's no harm, no foul. I just want some consistency in my grocery shopping experience. Leighton Night Crew, tell me how I should feel about this gray area. Should I always expect to be given grace for the shit I don't mean to drop? Or should I be punished for my crimes against condiments and just pay up every time?
You know what, Jordan? If you want some consistency in your grocery shopping experience, maybe stop dropping shit.
Yeah, like, first of all, don't lotion your hands before you go grocery shopping.
Yeah.
Or while grocery shopping.
Also,
the other thing, I'm worried about some of your choices. Jelly,
I was
going
to
to
say,
what's wrong with
jelly relish sandwiches are notoriously gross.
It's notoriously gross. I'm actually surprised that the grocery store made him pay.
Me too.
For
Normally,
a busted thing. Like, if the fact that, first of all, applaud yourself for actually telling somebody that you broke something as opposed to just being a dick and walking away. So you should be proud of yourself.
And also for
that.
not doing like a sitcom cleanup on aisle 5.
Yeah, exactly. Or dropping in your full basket or cart full of food and like booking it. So yeah, but I'm actually surprised. That seems like more of a personal choice that the other employee, like, I don't know. I've never worked in a grocery store. I've worked retail before, and Audrey was looking at a book at a store, and she ripped the page. She was flipping through the pages. She ripped the book. I bought the book because I'm like, okay, this is a book, and she ripped it. Now it's ours. Now I will buy it. But if I dropped something at a grocery store and it broke, I would go up to somebody and say, I'm so sorry I dropped this. But I wouldn't expect to pay. But then I don't know.
You know what? I wouldn't expect the store to make me pay. But I think so. In any other retail, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. In any other retail type situation, if you're in like, I don't know, like an antique store, to take an extreme example, and you like knock something off and break it, you're going to assume that you have to pay for it, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, I would 100% get the attention of someone to alert them to the thing that
or
you
just
dropped,
get attention.
because,
I know how you are.
Yeah, that's right. I just start breakdancing. It's a safety thing if you drop something, especially if it's liquid.
Yeah.
You got to let people know there's something on the ground.
Yep.
But then once you get that attention, I would say, hey, I can pay for that if you need me to. I think in most cases, and I think that's the polite thing to do, I would assume in 99% of cases, the store would be like, nah, it's cool. This happens all the time. Like, it's a high volume business. Shit drops. They break stuff all the time. Yeah. I don't think it's unreasonable that they have some breakage built into their business, but I do think it's polite to offer to pay for it.
Yeah.
I think the fact that someone yelled at you kind of for it is very uncool. Like,
I'm also
you don't
curious,
need to like come after someone because they drop something. It's
I'm
not
also
a big
curious
deal.
as how did he get charged? Did they give him then the broken jar with the UPC symbol on it and told him to take it up to the counter, or did they give him a whole jar?
Well, probably he got a new one, right? If he was holding that, he probably got another one, and then
he had to say, "Oh, maybe, yeah,"
or maybe they put him in grocery jail.
Yeah, I'm curious as to how that. I mean,
when you misbehave, every grocery store has a little brig.
Yeah,
that they put you in.
I definitely would offer. Yeah.
I think there's never a situation where I wouldn't, even if it was like a, $2 thing, I'd be like, oh, please let me pay you for it. I think partially because, you know, with that second employee being stern, anytime like a retail or any sort of service person is snippy, I'm like, all right, you have had a long shift. I get it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, this is not me. This is you've been stalking and somebody yelled at you earlier and now you got to clean up this shit that this dumbass dropped.
Right.
Like, I get it.
Yeah, and then the manager had to go back and say, I told you we shouldn't have ordered those extra oily relish jars.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah,
11th
exactly.
relish
Why are we
today.
coating them in baby oil?
Yes,
I would imagine, as in any retail job, the amount of bullshit you have to put up
yeah.
with when you work in a grocery store has to be. I've never worked in a grocery store, but I did work in retail at my dad's store. I think we talked about it, which is a very different situation.
Yep.
It's my father's store and it was a clothing store and all that stuff. But like, I'm sure you literally have, pathological people breaking shit on purpose and then being like, "Fuck you! What are you going to do?"
Or, I mean,
people are monsters.
Well, think about too, like how many times that you're going through the shelves or you're stocking things or cleaning things up, and you're finding like a whole ham behind like a bunch of canned goods.
Oh yeah,
because
people are
decided
stealing shit
against-
all the time.
or
Like a
not
box
even
of
stealing
ice
shit, but I
cream
just mean like
bars.
yes,
Yeah.
like they decided they don't want something like, and now that's gone. Like so I can understand.
Also, holy shit.
It's like the
listeners, if you are a person who picks something out and then it's like, oh, I don't want this anymore, and then doesn't go put it back, fuck you.
I can
Or you don't even have to
or
put it back.
give it
You
to them
just-
at the
you-
register.
You give it to the register
At the
and you
very
just tell
least.
them, I decided against it. They have a basket. They can put things back. If it's a refrigerated thing, try to make the effort to like go back and put it in the refrigerator.
Yeah,
but
but
if you
don't just
can't,
put it on
but
some
don't just put it.
random
Yeah,
shelf.
try to put it. And honestly, I feel like you should do that kind of in any store, like even at Target or whatever. If you don't want the sweater or whatnot, either give it to the person at the counter or try to go back and put the sweater back. And yeah, I mean, I worked retail. I worked at the Warner Brothers Studio store before they closed, and
at the Mall of America.
at the Mall of America. That's right, where we got a lot of questions about Disney stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Dear God.
But yeah, like we've all
Yeah.
you
So
know.
I think the consensus here is offer politely to pay for it, but expect that the store will probably decline that offer.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Do we want to move on to next segments and such?
Sure.
Yes. All right. So Rachel,
Yeah.
this next segment has caused a bit of controversy in the fan community
Oh, dear.
of this podcast. This is the segment where we give our pop culture recommendations. It's called "What's Poppin',"
Okay.
and this is the theme song.
What's poppin'?
What's poppin'? So, what did you think of that theme song?
It was great.
Yeah, you're right. It is great. Cool.
What
All right,
specifically
so-
did you like about it?
It was popping.
It was popping. Okay, great. Perfect.
There's
What,
been
she's making a face.
controversy.
About
Why did you
what?
now explain to me why you made that face?
Because I don't know what's going on right now.
Yeah. So this is Leighton's objection to this.
Exactly. Okay, so basically every show we do that. Brian specifically does this thing with the guest where he's like, okay, the theme song goes here, and then he doesn't play the theme song, and then asks the guest, who is not always a friend, usually a friend, I guess, to a degree, but in additionally doing it remotely, it just seems like there's a fuck up with technology, and so the guest doesn't hear it, and then they have to react to it, and I hate that, and I think it doesn't scan. But we got several messages saying, please keep doing that bit.
Okay. Well, the only thing I would say is that you kind of, it's a funny bit.
Yeah, I know.
No, but you blow it by saying, now she's making a face. What does that face mean? And then me having to say, I don't understand what's
Well,
going on.
I blew it on purpose
No,
because I wanted your analysis of what you were
because
feeling.
what that says is that, like, you just kind of skunked your own joke. So
Well, I skunked it after the joke had passed
Oh, I see.
because I wanted a real time guest reaction,
Oh, okay.
which I think actually this vindicated both Leighton's and my viewpoints. It vindicated Leighton's viewpoint because you completely were in line with her main objection to the bit, but it vindicated my viewpoint because I did what I wanted to do.
Well, no, I mean, I understood what you were doing in the sense of you were going to put in the music later.
See, I think that's more than most people, to be
And
honest.
then also because I can see your face too. And you're
Right.
like doing that, your dumb little smile you do when you're like, huh? You get it? Huh? You were doing that smile.
I was
to me,
not
so I'm
doing
like,
that smile. To be fair,
okay.
I was not doing that
Yeah,
smile.
you completely were.
I
I'm
definitely
looking
wasn't.
right at you.
I'm doing it now.
Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, Leighton, what's poppin'?
I'm reading a Confederacy of Dunces for the first time.
Oh, I've never read it.
Oh my god, it's so good. It's been on my
Is it
list
really?
forever. A book has never made me laugh the way that book does. Like it has that reputation of being really funny, but you know, I'm a prick and I hate everything, and I was like, there's no way that this book is this funny, and I just like I can't read it for too long because I laugh like so consistently at it. Like it's
nice to
it's
hear.
so good, guys. If you need to pick me up, read A Confederacy of Dunces. It's very good.
I've been meaning to for years because everyone talks about it like it's amazing, but I don't know what the latest edition is, but for years the cover art was so off-putting to me that
It's a guy like laughing, right?
it's like but it's like this weird kind of bulbous drawing. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
just
know what you're
hated the
talking about.
style of that. I couldn't pick it up because I found it so repulsive.
I mean, that's kind of the point of the book. It's just like, here's this gross, stupid man. And that's why it's funny. Because we all know a version of that gross, stupid man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really delightful. Do y'all do the thing where, in terms of being discriminatory towards books, I mostly read ebooks now because real books are too expensive and I'm impatient and I don't have space for them in my apartment because I have too many books about aliens. But if the outside feels a certain way, I don't want to buy it. Like, I like a really smooth, I don't like a hardcover. I want like a really smooth, like, I don't know, not glossy page, but anytime I get a book that has like the outside feels rough, like I don't want that shit.
Oh no, I don't do that. I never read ebooks. I just don't like it. Rachel, you read a ton of ebooks, like, or have in the past.
I have read ebooks. Yeah, I go back and forth. But there is something about holding a book. I kind of prefer the tag. But it's like I get ebooks. Right. Yes. I get ebooks for books that I'm like, I just want to read the book for fun and I don't particularly care to have the book.
For me,
but if there's a book that I want to have, then I buy it.
It's 100% like I spend enough time on screens. I don't want more screen time.
Oh, that's the other thing too.
And like if I have the option of doing something that I want to do, which is reading, and I can be off a screen as long as it's not prohibitive. That's what I'm going to pick. But,
I will say I did get a application for my iPad where I can read comics.
Ooh. Oh, is it Comixology?
Yes. And I really enjoy it.
Great.
Because if you can set it up in such a way where it'll go panel by panel like you're watching a show or something. Yeah. And that's been pretty cool.
I've done magazines for sure. I used to do the New Yorker app and that sort of thing. That was fine because then they just stack up over time.
No, that's the thing.
It's I comics and magazines.
I can do because I can just get all the episodes. Like I can just keep getting different issues and different issues.
I will say ebooks. Once I got an e-reader, like that was the big difference for me because I totally don't want to read a book on my phone. That sucks. But I have a Kindle which stays charged forever, and you can take outside and drop it in water and all that shit. Like it's really, I like it a lot.
When
and
I
think the big. Being able to highlight stuff in the book and then that goes to a separate PDF that you can export and like have all the pages. Like that's my favorite thing because I like to
great.
highlight stuff and refer to things a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I read a lot of procedural murder textbooks. And I highlight that stuff because it's
sure. You got to get
how to
notes.
Carefully murder someone.
Taking notes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rachel, I interrupted you.
No, I was just saying, like, when I commuted more, when I was living in New Jersey and commuting into New York, it was nice to have an e-reader because then you always had another book. So if you finished your book on your, like, in the middle of your commute, you were not like, okay. Like, you had another book you could get, or you could download another book, and that was nice.
We all agree. New Jersey is literal heaven. Best state in the union.
Anyway.
Everybody loves it.
Okay, listen, but Wawa, though.
Wawa is great, but I did not grow up in the Wawa part of New Jersey because I grew up in North Jersey, where there are
Wegmans.
Well, Wegmans isn't even that far north. I grew up much farther north than where many Wegmans are.
Wegmans.
Wawa is more of like a Philly, Central, South Jersey thing.
That's true.
So I grew up in the Quick Check part of New Jersey.
I have not had Tasty Cakes in so long, and I want Tasty Cakes so bad.
You know what I love is Yingling. Like, it's a Pennsylvania beer. I think is it Philly, brewed in Philly or near Philly? Yeah, but it's great, and I never see it outside of that part of the country.
Interesting.
They have Leinenkugel here now, but not the good.
That's
flavors.
A Minnesota beer.
It's a Midwestern beer. It's Wisconsin, but it's like.
Isn't that the same thing as Minnesota?
No. Anyway, go on.
What the fuck were we talking about?
We're talking about what's poppin'.
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about books and such. Yeah, that
Yeah.
Confederacy of Dunces. Read it; it's
Yes.
good. And then also the story of the author is really interesting because he committed suicide, and then his wife found the manuscript afterwards, and took her a really long time to she was like, "This book, he finished this. This is really good." And yeah, I think that's cool.
Wow.
Yikes.
I didn't know that. Crazy.
Wow.
Anyway, Brian, what's poppin'?
What's popping for me is two of my favorite podcasters just started a new podcast, and it's Tom Sharpling and Julie Klausner. Tom Sharpling is the guy behind The Best Show, which is my favorite comedy thing ever. Been a fan for years and years and years. I absolutely love it. Julie Klausner is she did this podcast for many years called How Was Your Week? And it's just a very fun. She also with Billy Eichner co-created Difficult People, the show, and it's just they're both comedy geniuses, and they just started a podcast called Double Threat, where they it's just kind of free flowing discussion podcast. They're only 2 episodes in; they're about an hour long. But one of the things they do, which I really like, is they have listeners send them in things that the listeners think they'll both hate, and then the producer they send it to the producer plays it for them real time during recording, and they get to react to it. And it's really fun. They also have a bit called Podcast Rescue, where it's like a bar rescue thing where they'll try to fix someone's lame podcast by listening to maybe 30 seconds of an episode. Anyway, I love both of them individually, and together they're just the best. So only a couple episodes in, but Double Threat, the podcast, it's already just a total joy, and I'm really into it.
We should do the thing where people send us things that they think that we would hate, because I think we both have very hard line opinions about things in different directions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love that. Send us I don't want to rip off their bit, but I guess we're going to. So if you have something you hate or you think we'll hate, send it to us. And okay, I want to say before I actually commit to this, no chakra stuff, guys. People, because Ross several years ago said something about how I hate chakras, which isn't even really true. He just kind of said it. The pseudoscience stuff, yeah, whatever. I have nothing really to say about it. So I would prefer pop culture things.
Yeah, and also don't do anything that's punching down at people who are being earnest, totally. I guess. I mean, don't send us a YouTube video of some kid doing something stupid. If you're sending us the Fanatic, did you see that movie with John Travolta? It's directed by Fred
I've
Durst.
heard about it, but no, I haven't seen it.
Oh, fuck, what a nightmare. Yeah, I don't know. Send us things.
Rachel, what's poppin'?
Ooh, I feel like I'm the wrong person to ask this question, but the final season of Schitt's Creek. I love Schitt's Creek. It is a brilliant show. It is amazing characters. They are the funniest people. Catherine O'Hara she's a goddamn genius.
Yeah,
and
she rules.
The fact that she hasn't won anything is stupid. I mean, I know she's won some stuff, but she should win more. She should win everything. She's wonderful. And so I bought that season, so I've been slowly watching it, and it's just delightful. And you can go back and just watch all of them, and they make you feel good, and they just seem like they're such a great family. Anyway, that and I've been listening to Mythos, which is a book that Stephen Fry wrote about the Greek myths, and it's so good, and it's read by him. I've been listening to it from Audible, and it's read by him, and he has a wonderful voice, and he goes all the way back, before Zeus, and I'm learning things. I'm like, what?
Can you do a Stephen Fry impression? Rachel does great British accents.
Well, he talked about himself where he was like, I was in. What does he say? He was like, I performed in Oedipus, and I was reviewed. And he just says that, and it's just so funny. Whatever. Anyway, but it's really it's fascinating and just soothing and really cool to listen to all these really great Greek myths. And then he goes into talks about, how we get these words from this. And he talks about, and this also led to this. And then you heard this story in Germany and blah, blah, blah. Like he goes on and gives you more in-depth stuff. And it's really fascinating and really well done. Like not at all boring, but not for kids though. Somebody asked me once, like it'd be for kids. No, it's not. I mean, cause it's the Greek myths, a lot of like brother, sister love and that sort of stuff. So and he does talk about semen and things. So like, I mean, I guess depending on how old your child is,
I'm
listen to it
just
first.
going to say no. In
yeah,
general,
I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's wonderful. So I've been listening to that. And then
I like that you specifically avoided the word incest and said brother sister love.
yeah, I know. I don't know why I did that. But yeah,
That's funny because we received an email with the subject line sibling love.
Oh God.
that
Yes.
We're very intentionally
Yes.
not reading on the show. Person who
Yes.
sent that email.
It's too much for us.
I am sorry. This is beyond our pay grade. Good luck.
Yeah.
So there's a really interesting podcast that I've been listening to, not yours. But
Yeah. Wait. So have you heard our podcast?
no,
at
no,
all?
not yet. No, no.
Oh, interesting. That is interesting, actually, isn't it?
It's called Last Day, and it's done by Harris Whittle's sister, Stephanie Whittle's Wax, and it is where she's basically talking about the opioid epidemic. So there's your warning, and they talk about people's last days alive. I'm just telling
People
you that
who have died from
people who
opioids?
died from opioid or heroin overdose, basically opioid overdose, and what went their last day. And then she does deeper dives into other things. But it is a fascinating podcast that talks about addiction and how we got to this point. And she talks to people who are in recovery, and she talks to people about their recovery. And it's very, very, very good. I think she's 3 seasons in. I'm just starting.
Oh,
the
really?
first season.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but it's very good. But again, trigger warning or whatever. It is about addiction. They do talk about people's deaths from opioid addiction. So
that one's for kids.
yeah, that one is definitely for kids. But that one's just real fascinating.
Yeah, that sounds super interesting.
It is very interesting. And so that's
Cool. That's great.
Yeah, those are my things. And
Awesome.
not reading anything quite yet. I think I'm going to start Bird by Bird, which is a book about writing.
Oh, that's a great book.
Yeah. It's been sitting on my nightstand for a while, so I think it's time to read it.
Yeah, it's a quick read.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah.
Shall we move on to our final segment?
Yes, we shall. Do you want to explain it?
Sure, Rachel, since you haven't listened to the podcast.
Yeah, I haven't.
There's a thing that my lovely aunt and uncle do with their nieces every night at dinner, where they go around the table and they share one lemon, which is a thing that's kind of a bummer or that they were unhappy about during the day, and then they share a peach. This is a correction now because I learned that it's only one peach. They share one peach, which is a thing that they're excited about or something good that happened or what have you. And so this segment is called Peaches and Lemons. And normally we would do a lemon, but considering everything, no lemons, moratorium on lemons. So we will now share peaches. And this is the theme song.
Peaches and lemons. Peaches and lemons.
I really liked it.
Thank you. So we do this at dinner in our house sometimes.
do.
Now. Audrey loves it.
She
Oh,
loves it.
then
She
why did
brings it
I
up.
explain it? What
Well,
the
for the
hell?
audience.
For the
For the
audience.
audience.
For the
Right, because like
audience.
Rachel, none of them have listened to this podcast before.
Yeah, we do it at dinner, and Audrey's a big fan. And
It's always very cute, and it's like I got to color today, and I ate a Cheez-It.
it's
very
I think it's a
cute,
great
good
idea
stuff.
because first of all, it solves the whole what did you do today? Nothing. What did you do? It solves that whole thing. So yeah. All right. So who goes first?
Do you want to go first, or
Oh.
I mean, this could be a first. We usually never have guests go first because
Yeah, because we never warn them
Oh.
beforehand, and then they're like,
Okay.
"Oh, what? I have to think of things," and then
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Peaches. I do 3. Okay, 3. Let me see. Oh, my first peach is that I started making these little recordings that I think are pretty funny.
They're very funny.
Me as a kind of a BBC interviewer who's interviewing bugs that you find in your house and yard. And
do you want to give people a little taste of the kind of thing you do? It's really cute.
no, it's just mostly, if you think of like a BBC interviewer and then
come on, do it.
I don't know if I can.
Just you can do it.
Well, like it was like, so it would be along the lines of like somebody saying, people have wrong ideas about butterflies. They might think a butterfly is a wonderful creature, but here we've met a butterfly who's an absolute ass. And then, and then I would interview the butterfly.
Which would sound like what?
What do you want? I'm busy. Fuck off. Like that. That is not quite that. The one that I'm really proud of, I did one where the interviewer, they're actually more gentle than that because I was thinking they're probably for kids. And it's somebody interviewing a spider, and it was pretty cute. And then my second peach, which ties into my second peach, is that a really good friend of mine who lives in Boston, and she's a brilliant improviser as well, and we are very, like, when we did improv together, it was one of those really great relationships where we could just go and go and go and go and go and like never stop, and it was really funny. And she and I connected this week, and we're going to try to start doing she's got a recording set up as well, so we're going to try to do some stuff together. And then I was telling her about my little bug interviews, and she wants me to send her one of the audios because they're pretty short, and she's going to try to animate it because she's also a really good animator and illustrator, so I might have a little animation coming out, so that's very exciting. And my third peach is actually doing this podcast with you guys, and that is the truth. I've wanted to do it ever since he was, Brian was like, I'm doing a podcast. I wanted to be interviewed, mostly just because Brian and I don't actually have a lot of opportunities where we do stuff together. It's we used to do more stuff than we do now, but
before we had a
child, yeah. Well, and then also just diverging. Our careers are kind of going in different directions right now, so it's been hard for us to actually find something that we could collaborate on. So it's really nice to sit here. I mean, this is the most time we've spent with each other besides just sleeping.
Without a child.
Without a child next to us,
true.
Interrupting constantly
totally
and being
true.
like, why'd you say that? What's this? What's it? Can I talk in the microphone?
I cannot believe she only came in once.
I know. I'm honestly shocked. So,
how is the bleeding?
Oh, she's okay.
Super.
She has an old boo-boo on her toe, and it just cracked open a little bit, but she's fine.
It was very, very minor. But I am glad she came to get us so she could
she
get
did
a
the right
Band-Aid.
thing.
She definitely did the right thing.
I did have a moment of panic when I heard her say in her tiny voice, I'm bleeding. I was like, oh, fuck, shit. I'm just going to be sitting on this other side of the call, like,
oh, you would know
out.
If it was...
There would be sobbing.
There would be a lot more tears. Yeah. So that's my third peach, is that I'm having a really great time right now.
That's great. Well, we're
so
happy you're
am I.
here. We've wanted to do this for a while. Leighton, do you want to go next?
Sure. I feel like mine are probably going to be an extension of what's popping a little bit, just because I'm very content rich right now. My first peach is, I'm surprised that I haven't mentioned this on the show before, but I really love Tim Heidecker and Greg Turkington's On Cinema. And On Cinema, if you guys are unaware, it's a long-running movie review show with Greg Turkington and Tim Heidecker being in character that it's a real slow burn, and it's so much content,
funny.
and it's an entire, like, cinematic universe of things, but it is, like, nothing makes me laugh as hard as that show does. Like, just start from the beginning, go, please watch the Oscar specials. I made the mistake of skipping them on my first run-through. They're the best part of the show. But it's been going forever. There's literally a 4-hour courtroom trial. And that trial is like one of the funniest things I've ever watched in my life. Anyway, that's not the recommendation. My recommendation and the peach is that Tim posted, like, basically it's a PDF of a text thread that he has with Mark Proksch, which is one of the other guys on Cinema, and Greg Turkington, called Marion's Wish. That's just them doing this deeply fucking stupid bit for, way too long. That's very, like, who's on firsty, but I was just, like, completely losing it reading it. It was like the highlight of my week. So that's peach number one. If you want to look at it, go look at Tim Heidecker's Twitter, but watch On Cinema, please. Like, I can't stress enough how fucking good On Cinema is.
It's the best. I saw their live show when it came through town
I'm so jealous.
last year, because their tour manager JP is NSP's tour manager also, and he got us in, and it was so great.
It's just, they're so funny. Whatever. So my second peach is still watching The Sopranos, and I am slowly making my way through it. I'm trying to savor it. because I've been enjoying it a lot. I only watch like one episode a night, which is rare for me. But I just finished season 2. Gotta say, the last 2 episodes of season 2 are like the best hours of television I have seen in a long time. Oh, fucking expert level to end season 2 of the show Sopranos with a Lynchian literal fever dream of an episode that's like the most emotional, dramatic shit that's happened all season, intercut with like Tony having sex dreams about his therapist and also shitting his brains out. Like, it's just masterful because that sounds weird and it works so well. Like, it's riveting television. Anyway, watch The Sopranos. Awesome. I thought that it was being overhyped to me. No, it's that good. It's as good as everybody says it is. It's great. Rad. Third peach, I found, like, you know, you can buy those little plastic cups of like melting chocolate for fondue or whatever. I've been running low on rations and I don't have any sweets, which is the big issue for me because I'm a horrible munchy person. But I found that in the back of my cabinet. That's been like my treat during the day is I put a spoonful of melted chocolate in my coffee, and then I have a nice little mocha. But yes, I will admit I have stood in front of my microwave at 3 a.m. with a butter knife and a cup of melted chocolate, just eating it straight up. Because once the sleeping meds kick in, all bets are off, baby.
That's a real Sex in the City episode right there.
Oh, God. Yeah, so those are my 3 peaches.
Cool. Mine, as I hinted at before my first peach, is I am now the proud owner of Animal Crossing New Horizons. And Audrey and I are only a couple hours into playing it, but it's just, I'm basically letting her play the whole thing. So we're moving real slow. But we've caught a few bugs and 1 squid, and we haven't planted anything yet. She's generally mystified by the game dynamic, but she loves it. And
what are her villagers? Do you know?
We haven't even gotten to that. Wait. Do you have
like
the 2 other people on the island?
Yeah, like the other animals.
Oh, I assumed everyone had the same ones. Is that not true?
They're always. That's kind of the fun of it. Like, random people will move in, move out. There's like 150 characters or something. They all have like.
Oh my God.
There are 8 personality types, but they're all different designs and they have different houses and whatever. But do you know what?
One is a horse. And I forget that person's name.
Can you describe what color they are? Like,
it's like pink, like it's a female, I believe, horse.
Okay.
We haven't played enough to really
sure
know. And the other is a rabbit.
Yeah, isn't it a rabbit?
Maybe.
I thought I saw it talking.
Pookie, maybe? I don't know. I didn't even know this was a thing. See, we're still really learning it.
Right. And Audrey can't read that fast. So like she can read, but she can't read that fast. So Brian has to sit there and basically.
Yeah, well, here's my impression of Audrey playing Animal Crossing. What did he say? What did he say? What did he say? What did he say? What did she say? What did he say? I'm gonna get that bug. Oh. Daddy, you do it.
Yeah.
Are you donating? I guess you don't have the museum yet, or even Blathers. Nope. I'm assuming.
No. Well, we're donating bugs to Tom Nook, so we've done that.
Wait, you can't donate stuff to Tom Nook. You sell stuff to Tom Nook, right?
Or I think you can't give him bugs to give to his friend.
Oh, maybe that is before he first shows up. I don't know. A month ago feels so. It's like 3 years ago, so I don't remember. But yeah. If you, after this, I'll give you my Switch friend code, and then Audrey can come to my town and see.
Oh, she would love that. Are you kidding me?
But you'll never get anything done on your own island because she'll just spend all her time in Leighton's town.
I can drop her some resources because it's a little bit of a grind, especially for a child at the beginning of the game where you're trying to get
that'd be awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can give her the better tools and all that stuff. Yeah, love that.
Please.
Some cool clothes.
Thank you. All right, so my second peach. These might all be Audrey related. Last night, Audrey was stomping. She was holding a long green, like balloon animal balloon up to her ear and mouth like it was a phone. And she was stomping around the room being like, and I was like, what is going on here? So I called her and went, ring, ring. And she goes, hello. I said, who is this? And she goes, a newspaper publisher. I was like, okay. Newspaper publisher, what's your name? And she goes, Flower Pretty. And then I start to ask her another question, and she hangs up on me because she said she was too busy to talk.
And then he just kept calling her back. He kept calling her back and answering. And then he said he was one of her photographers.
Writer. At first I was a writer.
Yeah, first you were a writer. And then, and you said, he was like, I haven't gotten paid for this 10,000 word article. And she said.
And I said, how much are you going to pay me? Yeah. And she said.
$50.
I mean, that's accurate to real life.
And he said, I get that. I'm not going to do $50. And then what did you say? You wanted $5,000.
I said $5,000.
$5,000. And she said, okay, but you have to pay me first. And he's like, wait, I have to pay you? And she goes, yeah, that's how it works. You pay me and then I pay you change.
And I was like, how did she understand the publishing industry so well, despite being unable to read?
I don't know what she gets up to when we're not.
But I was like, a newspaper publisher?
Yeah.
Where did she? Like, she knows what a newspaper is, clearly.
It must be from one of the
publisher.
Well, it might be from one of the books that her teachers are reading her or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they're reading some longer books. So I don't know. It was very funny.
Doing a ring bit with a child is like ultimate child yes-anding.
Oh.
Or, I mean, children do the no but it circles back around just by the way their logic works that even a no but is somehow still yes and.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And my third and final peach is, I think I said this before, but I can't remember. I got to do school with Audrey today. Yeah. And we made a rainbow because one of the science things was basically putting a glass of water in the sunlight and then finding where the light refracts into a rainbow. And we did it, and it blew her mind. She could not believe that you could just go out and make a rainbow.
Nope.
I mean, imagine if, like, your favorite thing in the world, rainbows are up there for her. I mean, it's not unicorn level, but it's pretty close. Like, she loves she's a 5-year-old. Like, she loves rainbows. Imagine if someone was like, yeah, we could just go to do that in the backyard.
Yeah.
What your brain would do.
Yep. Explode.
If you were like, this was here the whole time and I could just be doing it.
Yeah.
It was really great.
She gave him a real good open-handed slap.
Yeah.
And was like, we could have done that this whole time.
Yep.
And then she stomped off. Got on her phone, her balloon phone.
But we watched a little video about refraction and that sort of thing. And I think originally the question was like, why do rainbows happen? Like, what's special? And I think she said, I can't forget the exact wording, but it was something like they were just hiding in the sky.
You know what? That's a really beautiful sentiment. The rainbows are just hiding in the sky.
Yep. And it's kind of true. So that was really fun. It was nice to spend the day doing school with her, albeit the morning session was a bit frustrating and kind of rough. But once we got to the afternoon, she really turned it around.
Yep.
And,
are y'all doing like a full
break.
8-hour school day or whatever?
It's not quite 8 hour. I mean, kindergarten isn't like an 8-hour thing.
No.
It's more like 5 or 6 hours, and that's with a lot of breaks and messing around and stuff like that. So, but it's like
the actual work doesn't take too long. It's
the work
just
is like a
getting
couple
the
hours
tiny
tops.
human to sit down and do the work.
Yes,
that takes the longest.
And it's not even that. I mean, half the work is like coloring or writing
Watching
a
video
sentence.
Or,
2 plus 2 is 4.
Yeah, like it's at the kindergarten level, they're not even in class. Most of it is like there's like they work on social skills and being nice to people and things like that. So
practicing words, learning number bonds, that kind of like just
getting into newspaper publishing, stiffing your writers
newspaper
and photographers.
Right.
I was trying to think of the name for that movie. And like the closest I could come was The Devil Wears Pampers, but Pampers are too young for her.
Yeah.
The Devil Wears
she would get really. I mean, if she was not paying you before, she's really not paying you now. Yeah. You might get hit with a libel suit. My God.
Yeah.
Oh, believe me, that's coming someday. Once she discovers this podcast and everything and my Twitter,
all the social media that you get, the traction you get off of her. Oh my gosh, we owe her so much money.
Yeah. Well, if I ever made any money off Twitter, I'd be surprised.
You don't?
Yeah.
Huh. Weird. What are you doing wrong?
Anyway, what a joy this was. Rachel,
this is really wonderful.
Thank you for being here and taking the time. And this is like, she's just in the next room basically, but this is the longest Audrey's been kind of on her own for a long time.
A lot of milestones. A lot of milestones.
This is a big day for everybody. Yeah.
You and I are actually talking to each other again.
For the first time in years.
That's right. Leighton's here.
Yeah.
Audrey's fine.
Probably.
As far as we know.
I would hope so. I hope she really enjoyed The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie or whatever.
Yes.
Criterion
The
Collection
unbearable
release
lightness
she's
of
watching.
being. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, if you're wondering, like, if your child is ready to watch something like Labyrinth, because I'd really like her to see the Labyrinth, start with Jim Henson's Storyteller. If they can't get through an episode of Storyteller, they are not ready for the Labyrinth. And
to be fair, there were episodes of True and the Rainbow Kingdom that were too
also
scary.
Were a little scary for her, yeah. But I showed her the Storyteller. She didn't like Hans my Hedgehog, but she did like the episode of what's her name? Oh shoot, it's a Cinderella one. Crap, I can't remember the name. But anyway, Jim Henson Storyteller. For those kids that are my age, you remember this show. It was brilliant. It was wonderful. Watch it. Find it. Watch it. It's the best.
Yeah.
Is there? Sorry, we're wrapping up, but is there particular stuff that really scares Audrey?
It's so random. Things that we think
as it is with a child.
Yeah. Things that we think that might scare her don't. And then things that we think this will not be a problem
at all. It's the
Well,
fluffy bunnies have a cupcake party, and she's like, "Oh God, there were too many cupcakes,"
or whatever. Yeah, you're just like, what? Like we've been watching Star Wars, and she has no problem.
We thought like that was a gamble, and she
has no problem.
with it at all.
I think part of it too is that Brian told her that nobody dies when they get shot with.
No,
lasers.
I didn't tell her that.
Oh,
So
I thought you said you told her that they just go to sleep.
She told this was a thing. Okay, this happened while we were watching Star Wars. So we watched the whole thing, and then at
episode
the end,
4, by the way.
Yeah,
nerds.
sorry, A New Hope.
Right.
And I said, "Did you like that?" And she said, "Yeah." And I'm glad nobody died. And I was like, what happened to all those people that were shot by the lasers? And she said, they went to sleep.
Oh, I see. I thought you told her that. Oh, okay.
She,
because then for the rest of the time, she was like, I liked it because nobody died. It was not scary at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And her two favorite characters are Princess Leia and Darth Vader.
Yes.
Of course. I mean, that's a homie right there, because I was exactly the same. Leia, Darth Vader, wanted to be Darth Vader, did not fully understand the dynamics of wanting to be Darth Vader.
Yeah. And
I
she
remember,
likes
Luke's aunt and uncle, like, because there's like get a little bit of charred corpses in there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember that scaring me really bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was worried about. I think
you covered her eyes during that part
Owen
where
and
he
Baru.
yeah. And she kept going, what are you doing, what can't I see, like,
Yeah.
But yeah,
they're
so
fine.
like,
they're fine, honey.
Star Wars, she saw that and she saw Empire, and neither of those
Didn't really like Empire.
She didn't really like it, yeah. But yeah, we watched Onward.
And
that she didn't like.
The gelatinous cube. What did she say?
There's a gelatinous cube in it.
We were talking about.
How did she pronounce it?
Yeah, so at lunch today, she was like, it was at breakfast, sorry.
Yeah.
She was like, I didn't like she said Monopoly or something that sounded like Monopoly. It was like the Monopoly.
The Jalopoli or something
the
like.
The Monopoly Bloob.
Yeah.
I was like, the what?
We were like, what? And she kept getting frustrated with us.
And eventually she was like, from Onward, the big green cube. And we're like, oh,
Jell-O.
the gelatinous cube. And she was like, yeah, the gelatinous.
Yeah, she couldn't say gelatinous.
It was so cute and we broke it down. Gelatinous.
Yeah.
And she still
that
couldn't quite get it. It was really cute.
So that upset her. And yet, but she will talk about the movie more. And
she seemingly memorized it after watching it once.
And I think she's come around on it. Like, that's the thing is, like, she'll do this thing where she'll either talk herself into being scared about something or talk herself out of being scared about something. Yeah. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
That's an excellent skill, though. I mean, there's like a level of, mental elasticity to that of like.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a
bad.
classic little kid thing, too.
Yeah, they just work through
totally.
it. So they just ask you questions like all the time. Like, we watched the movie Claws and on Netflix, which is very, very good. And I think it was just really, it's more an emotional movie. I think if a movie has a lot of emotions, so Pixar movies, they really play on your emotions. They really try to,
That's not a Pixar, though.
Well, Onward. I was thinking Onward.
Onward,
but yeah, but like I said, like Pixar, sorry. And so she's an extremely emotional kid.
Oh, yeah. Living in the drama.
And so I think anything that tugs on those feelings that she doesn't quite understand, what is this I'm feeling, that translates to being scared.
Yeah.
So like she was scared of the Claus movie, which is about basically supposed to be a retelling of how did we get Santa Claus. And that's a movie that just constantly is
because there's
it's a lovely movie.
People are
it's a beautiful movie.
ostracizing other people.
Yeah, and then it's about this man who,
I don't
want to spoil it.
so
But it's lovely. It's about a man who's bringing gifts to kids, and so it
he murders Santa and has to become Santa.
Anyway, and so I think any movie.
That's initially what I thought you guys were talking about. So I was like,
what she gets scared about is
Santa
that
Claus?
kind of stuff. When something is really emotional and it's too much. I think it becomes overwhelming. That's how she processes it.
Yeah.
I mean, even being an adult, having a feeling that you don't understand is scary. Like for a 5-year-old, woof.
Yeah. Well, she loves The Nightmare Before Christmas. Loves that movie.
Loves it.
Loves
Hell
it. Loves
yeah.
it.
We'll watch it an infinite number of times.
But
and has for years now.
Yeah, years. She's watched it,
It
like
doesn't
since
get
she was
old.
3, and
No,
she
it really doesn't.
has done the scary. Like I'm scared. That scared me. Never. And that movie of all movies, you'd be like, okay.
She was a little scared by the Nightmare Before Christmas Haunted Mansion.
Well, the ride.
a little bit.
A little bit. When we got, that was because we got stuck, not
Yeah.
stuck, but it's stopped.
In the graveyard.
In the graveyard under one of the big snowmen with the pumpkin head that's like looming over your car.
Yeah.
So,
and she was 4 at the time.
yeah, that spooked her, but that would, if you're sitting under that'd probably scare anybody for
I mean, that
after a
ride
while.
scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Like I was like, ghost, no. And like the ride attendants were kind of like trying to jump scare kids in the cars, and I was like, I'm not having this. Fuck this. I hate this.
The thing at the end, the taking the ghost home with you thing, really freaked me out as a child.
Yeah.
The thing
See,
where it does
and
the
I-
mirror.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
Oh, hated that. Still hate that.
Yeah, she doesn't like jump scares. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the other thing she doesn't
Well,
like. Anyway,
Very few
We should
people
probably
do.
get inside. Yeah.
I guess.
Oh yeah.
Do
All
we
right.
have to?
Rachel,
do.
thank you again so much.
Yes, of course.
We'll
Anytime.
see you
Where-
this evening at our house.
Yes, I will see you in 2 minutes at our house.
Leighton, you were about to ask.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where can we find you on socials? Is there anything up that you're excited about that people can go see?
Twitter at Rachel Wecht, and I'm on YouTube now. I have a very tiny YouTube channel, and
Tell people about the videos.
I've been doing these videos called Calls from My Mother from the Apocalypse, which is just what my mom would be like in the apocalypse, and it's a phone call. It's her calling
Give us a
me.
little taste.
Because she's from Minnesota, so it's a lot of like, "Hi, hun, it's me, it's mom. We're fine, everything's fine." And then she just talks about whatever terrorizing thing is happening in the neighborhood, and then asks some sort of
Vortices and zombies.
yeah,
and-
zombies and exactly,
very
monsters
funny.
and then it's always some sort of benign mom kind of question. Like there was one about where she just didn't know which remote to use for the TV. So so I have those. I have to
great.
put out. I have a bunch. I have to keep putting them out. I don't put them out on a regular schedule. So sorry everybody. But yeah, so I'm on YouTube and Twitter, and I am on Instagram, but not much. I have to kick that up a little bit. And unfortunately,
No, you
I don't really.
You do, yeah, that's correct. You do
That's
not.
true. Unfortunately, I don't really have a lot of other stuff coming out, but hopefully the things I talked about in my pitches will become something. And so I hope to have more stuff for you all. But I'm about. Say hi.
Cool.
Wonderful, Rachel. I hope I get to see you at IRL soon.
Yeah, that would be great.
Cool.
All right.
Well, that's the end of the podcast, everybody.
Oh my goodness. Wow. What a thrill ride.
End of podcast.
End of podcast.
Great.
All right, great.
I'm sorry I'll never hear it.
Leighton Night is produced by Brian Wecht and Leighton Gray. For more information, visit leightonnight.com. That's LeightonNight.com. Also, please follow us on social media. On Twitter, we're at Leighton Night, and on Instagram, at Leighton_Night.